Keeley Rogers now with an amazing story of how a husband became a hero because of a 10-month-old baby.
It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So I don't want to taste that again. I don't want to ever be without her.
It's not easy talking about the hardest moment in your life. For Brian Andrade, it happened just days ago when he almost lost his wife, Chantel.
Well, for me to be here is, it means a lot because apparently what happened that Wednesday night, I wouldn't be with my 2-week-old baby. Don't you love, I love this little purry here.
Yeah, his lips.
Just 13 days after bringing baby Oliver home to Mississauga, Chantel collapsed. She suffered a cardiac arrest for reasons still unknown.
At that point, I on the phone with the 911 and just told him, please send somebody. My wife, she's not breathing.
He knew right away from the color on my face that he needed to do CPR.
I was like, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to open up her airways, start pumping.
If he hadn't reacted and done what he had done, the outcome would not be the way it was. I would have been dead.
When little Oliver here was on his way, his parents-to-be decided to take a CPR course. Brian had only known how to do it for just over a month when he had to use it.
I love how something was tugging on them to go take the CPR course.
That course was put on as a fundraiser for Kristen Arrigo's son, who we've come to know as baby Jesse. At 10 months old, Jesse fell into a backyard pond after 55 minutes without oxygen and numerous cardiac arrests. CPR saved his life.
I think the whole world, and I think that I took Jesse's class. It was all because of Jesse. He was my inspiration.
Oh, that's gonna make me cry.
Happy birthday, dear Jesse.
His little life is able to be helping other people.
But there's one more thing that makes this story so remarkable.
There's a very special paramedic named Sean who was at the scene of the day Jesse's accident and resuscitated him with his team. And it was the same guy, Sean, who resuscitated Chantel last week.
He's so soundly sleeping.
Saving mom's life, does that get dad at a diaper duty or 3 a.m.
I think so. I've asked her to call me Batman from now on. I need a cape.
He does.
Brian was only one of 2 dads who went to that CPR course. It was mostly moms-to-be. As for Chantel, on Monday, she is having a defibrillator put in, and if all goes well, she should be home on Tuesday.
Keeley Rogers is live with this City News exclusive. Keeley.
Francis, I'm live at Queen Alexandra Middle School, where the field is sheer ice, and it's not the only one. We've actually been receiving viewer email after viewer email from worried parents right around the city who say something needs to be done because this just isn't safe.
And alert, but they don't.
I just fell off the ice.
Getting to school has been no walk in the park for these kids. At Young and Finch's RJ Lang, they have the cuts. Does it hurt?
Yes.
And the bruises to prove it.
I fell like 3 times.
It's been 26 days since the ice storm, and like RJ Lang, it's still slick at Gled Hill, slippery at Brookhaven, and skating rinks at many other schools around the GTA. Parents are pleading for help.
We just want a solution. We just want our children and the parents alike to be safe.
That kid just fell right now. As you can see, he just fell.
Some families have tried to avoid the ice, but the detour causes delays.
It's very difficult because before it was taking me like 10 to 12 minutes, but now I'm coming with 30 to 45 minutes.
So how icy are some of these areas? Well, they're so slick, in fact, that I can actually skate. Woo!
In some cases, this ice is very thick, and it's not a matter of simply taking a shovel to it. In some areas of our schools, it would literally take heavy equipment.
The TDSB says it's been salting day and night in the worst areas, but it's been a beast keeping up with this freeze-thaw weather. And salt isn't an option in most cases either.
We can't salt our grass fields. Not only would it's just not plausible to do an entire field of that sort, but the salt will damage the field itself, the grass underneath.
The priority right now is the walkways, but the TDSB says it's at the mercy of Mother Nature. Until we get a solid warm-up, parents and students are going to have to be patient and take it slow.
We keep stepping on cracks, and the edge of the crack stops us from falling.
More cracks, yeah.
So that's the secret to making it down without falling?
Yeah, that's the secret.
I know a lot of schools are still holding recess inside because it's just too dangerous to be outside. As you can see, others are blocking off certain areas for recess. And before we go, Francis, I'm going to try this one more time. Live from the ice-caked field at Queen Alexandra, Keeley Rogers, City News. Woo!
Okay, not a bad skater. Thank you, Keeley.
Next, an update to our exclusive story last night about Toronto's broken and frozen fire hydrants. Last night, City News revealed the problem is worse now than it's been in any of the past 20 years. So tonight we follow it up. Live to Keeley Rogers with the city's strong response to our story. Keeley.
Gord, there are 50,000 fire hydrants in our city, and yesterday we told you hundreds of them weren't working. Well, today we checked back in and found a number of them have been repaired, but we also found some new ones broken.
Oh, that's not acceptable. No, they ought to fix them. Anytime you're next to anything where there's, mass groups of people, whether they be children or adults even for that matter.
It is the second elementary school we've found in the beach with an out-of-service fire hydrant. This one next to St. Denis went 3 weeks without being fixed until City News called it in. And then today we found this one, not only next to an elementary school, but steps from a daycare.
That's not good. That should be a priority. This, for fire hydrants, should be a priority.
Is there a priority for which hydrants get thawed first?
Yes, they do get triaged and prioritized, and the unfortunate thing is we only have so many thawing machines in the city, and so our crews can only complete so many thawings per day.
It's been 2 decades since Toronto Water has seen a winter have this much of an impact on our fire hydrants and water mains. Yesterday, we told you more than 240 hydrants were frozen or damaged. Since our story aired, 100 have been fixed.
We have crews working overtime, and we have contracted services. We have a number of contractors, and they've added more crews.
As the weather gets warmer, a lot of the frozen hydrants will thaw out on their own, but a number of them are damaged, and I'm told it could take up to a month to fix them.
That's alarming, and so I will follow up with Toronto Water, but we want to do whatever we can to get them activated as soon as possible.
Councillor McMahon's ward is one of the hardest hit. We reported on 9 non-functioning hydrants last night in her area, and when we went back to check them after our story aired, 7 were fixed, proving repairs are getting done, just at a cost. When it comes to the budget this year, when everything rounds out, how much of a hit is this going to take on the bottom line for all the overtime and the contract services?
We're still tabulating those numbers. I could easily say it's going to be several $1 million this year.
But that's more than we've seen in the past.
Oh, absolutely. This is the worst winter we've had in over 20 years.
Toronto Water tells me there are reserve funds, so the millions that we could be out this year shouldn't have an impact on taxpayers. Live from Dundas and Bond Street, I'm Keeley Rogers, City News.
Hundreds demanding answers tonight to the shocking death of an 18-year-old man gunned down by police on a streetcar Saturday. Live now to Keeley Rogers with the tense protest that had everyone asking, how could this happen? Keeley.
Yeah, Rogers, you can see behind me there are a few dozen candles lit tonight for Sammy Yatim, and on the road there are messages written in chalk. It's been a very emotional few days for our city, with friends, family, and even strangers asking for answers.
We want justice! We want justice! Justice for Sammy! Come surrender wants him! Come surrender wants Sammy!
Voice wavering and tears running down her face, Sammy Yatim's mother started this evening's Justice March with the few words she could put together.
We want justice! We want justice!
It's hard. It's sad. We miss him. My children miss him. Waiting for him to come home that night was the most heartbreaking thing, and finding out in the morning that he passed away.
18-year-old Sammy was killed early Saturday on a streetcar at Dundas and Bellwoods. He reportedly exposed himself, pulled a knife, and ordered everyone off the vehicle.
It was just a very dramatic situation.
Amateur video gives us an idea of what happened next. 9 shots were fired. The officer who fired them has been suspended with pay. Yet Team was also tasered. He died in hospital.
But it was really frightening to see all of the shots.
The way he died is so unjustified.
In a rare move, Chief Bill Blair expressed his own concern about the shooting today, despite the case being in the hands of the SIU.
I am aware of the various serious concerns that the public has. I know that people are seeking answers to what occurred, why it happened, and if anything could have been done to prevent the tragic death of this young man.
The march started at Yonge Dundas Square with a couple hundred people. It's quickly swelled as far back as the eye can see. Protesters are chanting justice for Sammy and holding placards that say, "Protect us from our protectors."
One person's mistake doesn't generalize the whole Toronto police. However, it was very unfair what happened, and we're here to make a change.
Sammy's family and friends wanted this to be a peaceful protest, but things got tense when the march reached 52 Division. And then 14 Division.
Justice for Sammy! Justice for Sammy! What are you gonna do?
But tempers calmed at the scene where the shooting took place. Sammy's mother and sister falling to the ground with emotion. A red 9 marked for the number of bullets fired. And this won't be the last time we see a protest for Sammy. In fact, another one is already being planned for August 13th. That's the day of the next Toronto Police Services board meeting. Live from Bellwoods and Dundas, I'm Keeley Rogers. Roger, it's the ongoing battle between bikes and cars. We're talking about dooring tonight, something not only dangerous, but it can be deadly. Now, you may be surprised to know this, but police don't actually track the number of accidents between bikes and cars every year, although there is a growing course of people right now to have that changed. Now, one of the mistakes I made at skid school today was distracted driving. Even if you have Bluetooth, I wouldn't recommend going on it tomorrow. This kind of driving, this kind of weather, it needs your full attention. Now, before I let you go, one more last message. Take a look. It's written in the snow. Live from Spadina and Wellington, Keeley Rogers, City News. Now, I know you've heard this before, but it's so true. The best way to prevent your smartphone from being stolen is to keep it out of clear view. Now, there are also apps that send a siren off if your phone is stolen or completely wipe your personal data. Live from Yonge and Dundas, I'm Keeley Rogers. Back to you, Roger. The general public, according to Toronto Public Health, is low. If you want more information on TB and to learn a little bit more about its symptoms, visit us online, citynews.ca. Live at Mary Ward near McNichol and Kennedy, I'm Keeley Rogers. 72 was Constable Jennifer Kovac's badge number, and her giving spirit lives on in her death. She was an organ donor, and because of her, 2 people can now see. Reporting from Guelph, Keeley Rogers, City News. Gord, it is a proud day. Monroe has done what no Canadian woman has ever done before. The 82-year-old is loved around the world for her stories based on her own experiences living in small-town Ontario. Monroe's no stranger to awards, but she says she never saw this honor coming.